Welcome to this, the last in this series of the Best of British Motorsport, coming to you today from twin venues. We're at Brands Hatch in Kent and here at Donington Park in Leicestershire, where it's overcast, breezy and decidedly chilly. Later in the programme we'll catch up on the final round of the TVR Tuscan Challenge from Donington. These dramatic sports cars have provided more than their fair share of incident this year, and although Mark Hales has already won the series, today's race is wide open. But first, let's join our regular commentators, Neville Hay and David Addison, and show you how some of the other championships we've been following this year have finished up.
The penultimate round of the VR6 Championship and the final round of the Polos got away at Brands Hatch with pole position man Ian Briggs facing Tim Sugden. Stephen Day had a grandstand view of the cars going round Paddock Bend. Some of them needed more than the track. Guy Povey had a huge moment going to Druids on the first lap. With Sugden putting his stamp on the race, the man who's won the championship, Lemmer, got very sideways. Behind, Adrian Saunders was leading the Polo battle. But up front, the action was thick and fast, Povey trying hard to recover from that moment on the first lap, while Andy Kramer found himself assaulted by Philip Burgess. The biggest moment, however, was to come. Ian Churchill got on the grass, lost it and clattered the bank hard. He finished up halfway on the track, but all was well. In a classic out-braking manoeuvre, Willie Moore snatched the lead from Saunders in the Polo Cup. Meanwhile, Ray Arms was having problems of his own. A gentle nudge and into the kitty litter. Out front, Sugden led from Briggs, but forcing his way up, hard and fast, was Stephen Day. Guy Povey was the victim. Side by side, down towards Paddock, and nobody wanted to give way. Povey lost out and had to follow him up to Druids. Everything comes to him who waits, however. With a sick car, Stephen Day headed for the pits. Back up to third went Povey, behind Sugden and Briggs. And that's the way they finished when they came to the line. Third place, however, was enough for brother Michael Day to clinch the Polo Championship. A job well done. Sugden was in sparkling form at Donington again. Not so the reigning champion Mark Lemmer. On the grass, but not out of the race this time. He lost a lot of ground, however. When Mark Grady ran wide, Day came through to snatch his place, slotting in behind the top three. Sugden, Povey, and at that time, Ian Briggs. Meanwhile, the Polos were having a battle of their own.
The Polo G40 is running in their non-championship shootout. The quicker men starting at the back. Adrian Saunders leads, Michael Day second, and Willie Moore third.
Adrian Saunders is now defending his line. And they're both off. Certainly Adrian Saunders is off. And we're cooking.
So Willie Moore now leads the Polo G40 shootout, and this is how. Adrian Saunders turns in, Michael Day almost alongside him. The two cars touch and Adrian Saunders gets flicked off into the gravel. Quite fortunate there not to roll. Saunders out of the race, but here is the man who leads the Ventos. It's Tim Sugden, within second place Guy Povey, and third and fourth, very close indeed, Ian Briggs in the white Vento with the checkered livery, just ahead of Stephen Day, who runs a little wide there. And look at Briggs having a go on the inside of Povey as they came up towards us there into Coppice. Guy Povey just being able to hang on to that second place and possibly contact. There was contact. You saw a bit of white bodywork fly off as Ian Briggs touched the tail of Guy Povey, and Stephen Day right round the outside now. They're coming down towards the chicane. Guy Povey hugging the inside line. Ian Briggs in the middle of the road, and Stephen Day is having to be very brave indeed. Going all the way around on the outside. He's got to brake very late indeed. Ian Briggs, though, come through to maintain that third place. Sugden leads. Povey, then Briggs, and then Stephen Day right up behind third place man Ian Briggs. Mark Grady, new to the Vento Championship, up from the Polos with the ex-Bob Berridge car, the silver car, comes through in fifth place. So Tim Sugden into Redgate. Guy Povey looking in his mirrors all the time to try and see just how close Briggs and Day are, and the answer is very close. touching the curb as they run wide out of Redgate, and now they make their way down through the Craner curve to the old hairpin at the bottom of the hill, and Ian Briggs is now really charging. He's pulled away sufficiently, I think, from Stephen Day on this last lap now to be able to attack number 12, Guy Povey. They come down into the old hairpin. Briggs gets it sideways. Briggs is off, onto the curb, onto the grass. The car slides way outside all control. The brake lights come on. Look at the understeer he's got there as he tries to recover and get back on the tarmac. Ian Briggs does so, but the Reading newsagent drops down to 5th place. Tim Sugden then, the Bradford battler, in the lead. Big gap before second place man Guy Povey, the Birmingham motor trader, comes into view with Stephen Day now safe in third and Mark Grady fourth, well clear of Ian Briggs, having made that mistake down at the old hairpin. Moore still leading the Polos.
Got to let him through.
Andy Kramer on the Craner curves goes through into the lead of the Polo race. Willie Moore must have some sort of a problem, possibly with the drive shaft. Tim Sugden is going to win the race and in so doing finish third in this year's championship. He earns himself £4,000 as he comes up to cross the line, with Guy Povey taking second place in the race ahead of Stephen Day third, Grady and Briggs fourth and fifth ahead of Mark Lammer sixth, and they're the championship positions. Lammer and Michael Day crowned as the Volkswagen winners of '94.
Back at Brands in the final round of the Saloon Car Cup. Gates and Coombs close together in the lead. On the Hondas, in perhaps too close a company, Stephen Warburton attacks Harrison. Michael Woodcock here, trying to take fourth place away from Pete Clark. And he manages it. Dan Little closing on the Hondas ahead, with behind him Yates losing the lead there, as through goes Coombs. Delaron was struggling with handling problems in his Escort. But Coombs it was who crossed the line to win. A hard-fought championship with the overall win going to Simon Harrison, the 24-year-old Hull driver with the Honda.
The Caterham Vauxhalls then lining up on the grid for the final round of this year's very exciting championship, with the Bury St Edmunds pilot Keith Farrant taking pole position. The Titan Airways back car on the inside of the circuit, not always the best starting place, and alongside him David Walton with the Beecroft prepared car. Walton the man who won the last time the Caterhams were here, and that was in May. Farrant and Walton then the front row. Clive Richards, the Rover-powered Caterham champion, on row 2 with Peter Bell.
And if Walton wins and takes fastest lap, he could still see off Milligan for the championship.
On board with Alex Ray, waiting for the start of what promises to be a very good race indeed. A 15-lap thrash round the Indy circuit. The lights go green and away they go. Up towards Paddock Hill Bend for the first time, and it's Keith Farrant nosing into the lead. No, it's not. David Walton, number 1 in the Swinton car, goes right round the outside of him. Now, who's going to come out in front as they make their way up the hill towards Druids? It's Farrant on the inside. It's Walton on the outside. They break for the hairpin, and Farrant leads. In second place is David Walton, and cars there locking up as they make their way into the hairpin for the first time.
A wide-open race, then, as they come down the hill, with Farrant holding off Walton. And Milligan anxious to increase his points in the championship.
It's Keith Farrant leading, David Walton in second place. Now, Walton has to win. He's got to take fastest lap, and Milligan failed to score, really to enable the County Durham man, David Walton, any chance of winning this championship. So despite his best efforts, he's also partly dependent upon what that man, number 18, Paul Milligan, can do. Milligan round on the outside of Graham Morris there. He's up into fourth place as they come through Paddock, so maybe the pendulum is swinging back in Milligan's favour now.
Milligan in fourth, trying to close that gap between himself and third man. He's determined to go out on a win. Alex Ray loses a place there to Barry Bullen. Has to slot in behind as they go down through Graham Hill.
Farrant then leading as they come through Clearways. David Walton still tucked up in second place, and again Milligan there running wide over the white line onto the grass, raises the dust. He's chasing on after Peter Bell, the man who works as a mechanic for Jack Brabham Garages, and the leaders now flash across the line. Still Farrant just up ahead, and there's Bernie Wood, who won right at the start of the season, but by and large it's been a disappointing 1994 for him. Round on the outside there, Guy Parry moving through ahead of Alex Ray, another place lost for Ray.
Yes, Ray having a disappointing race here after a good practice and losing a lot of places. Getting very sideways, Parry, though. That place is going to come back. He spins in front and Ray avoids him. Howard Walker not so lucky.
Yet another wingless Caterham. Guy Parry should be able to rejoin. He's facing the wrong way at the moment. He's got to wait for the traffic to clear and then spin the car round. He sets off now, back in the race, minus that right rear wheel arch.
Up front, the battle well and truly joined. They've closed right up, and Milligan determined to go through and try and take a win here. He's right with them, snatches third place. Now right on the tail of the leaders. Walton fans out. There was a little nudge between Milligan and Walton there. And Milligan finds himself sandwiched on the inside, and he's lost not one, but almost 2 places there, but snatches back fourth.
Peter Bell comes round here. We're on the way to Druids, where there's a yellow flag waving. It's Trevor Lovell who's facing in the wrong direction. Alex Ray just able to squeeze through the gap. Another wingless Caterham.
The leading trio fight it out. Behind them, Bell and Morris, with Bell having lost a place there and anxious to get back fourth.
The leaders, though, making their way out of Clark Curve. And there we can see the orange-fronted car of Graham Morris just ahead of Peter Bell, who knows Brands Hatch like the back of his hand, and he's going through on the inside as they arrive at Paddock. He breaks that little bit later. He goes through, and look at Walton there, round the outside of Farrens. Will that give him the lead? Yes, it will. David Walton, number 1, just noses into the lead as Milligan comes up on the inside of Farrens, but Farrens goes back up front, and Milligan's on the inside of him. A brief clash between them. Farrens is just ahead, but Paul Milligan is right with him as they drop down the hill. Incredible!
A bit of leaning while they're trying to outfox each other there. Up came Milligan into second place, and now there's nothing between him and the lead but one man, and he's trying with all he knows.
It looks as though Milligan is going to be crowned as this year's Caterham Vauxhall Challenge winner. He's in second place. He leads the championship. He's got Keith Farrens right up behind him, and Milligan is flying. Across the line they come now. Still just in the lead is Keith Farrens, who has done very well to sustain all this pressure. Race longer now. Milligan goes right on the outside and takes the lead. Fantastic stuff.
Round the outside of Paddock requires a very brave man indeed. Now Milligan's got there. Can he keep the door closed? Yes, he can. Walton relegated to third place. He won't like that at all.
Back on board with Alex Ray, our chauffeur, as we make our way up towards Druids. Now this time the track's clear, but Ray's got the back end out. He's lost it. Alex Ray spins. Out comes the yellow flag as Ray sorts himself out and sets off again.
An eventful race then for the camera car, and an eventful race for Paul Milligan. But Walton, now back in third place, has seen his championship chances slip away. As sideways there, Milligan controls the car once again. They close a little. Walton tries to get through to second place, but it's not to be.
Paul Milligan, the man from Lancaster, the Lancaster bomber of Caterham Vauxhall Racing, wins the race and the championship here at Brands Hatch, with Keith Farrens coming home in second place and David Walton taking third. Fourth goes to Peter Bell ahead of Graham Morris and Clive Richards in an incredible race.
Drop points, flatter the score a bit, but Milligan a very firm title holder.
So congratulations to Paul Milligan, the new champion of the Caterham Vauxhalls. Well, let's bring you up to date now with what else has been happening recently in the world of motorsport.
In the final round of the Eurocar series of Pembrey in Wales, Barry Lee was confirmed as champion. The last race on the Sunday for the V6 powered cars saw a great dice between Ickenham's Phil White and the local driver Carl Jones. A mistake though by the Welshman, with just 2 laps remaining, left White to take victory. Donington Park was the venue for an end-of-season International Formula 3 challenge. Favourite was the runner-up from the '93 British Series, Oliver Gavin, but up against some tough opposition. South Africa's Werner Lutberger only made it as far as Redgate though, and Spain's Pedro de la Rosa was given a controversial push by the Brazilian Castro Neves in the dice of the race. The winner by a clear margin was the Frenchman Christophe Tinceau, who claimed victory after a mistake by Oliver Gavin. And finally, to crash of the week, which comes from the dramatic Australian touring cars. This time, the classic Bathurst endurance race, and 9 times winner Peter Brock getting it all wrong across the top of the mountain, fortunately without injury.
Spectacular pictures from the Australian Touring Car Championship, and we stay with the V8 engines for our next piece of action. After the break, it's the final round of the TVR Tuscan Challenge from here at Donington Park. Stay tuned. Welcome back to Donington Park. TVRs are ready behind me on the grid. Last-minute preparations. While that's going on, let's show you what happened last time they raced. That was at Brands.
Mark Newman started from pole position. Too much wheel spin allowed Ian Flux to get to the front. Mark Halesdoe made a terrific start to lead the field through Paddock Hill Bend for the first time. Behind, John Kent and Simon Wayne were soon dicing for third and fourth places. And it wasn't long before they reeled in Ian Flux to make it a three-way dice for the runner-up spot. Flux then dropped back with gearbox trouble. And the dice of the race was for the lead. But as Hales did his best to keep Wayne behind, the red flags came out after this incident to Peter Wheeler. Mark Hales then the new champion and declared the winner of the race, and Peter Wheeler more than a little shaken up.
John Kent, the man who will line up on pole position here at Donington for the final round of the TVR Tuscan Challenge. A TVR stalwart despite racing in the first ever truck Grand Prix here at Donington some 10 years ago. Mark Hales, the man already crowned as this year's champion, is alongside him on the front row, with Ian Flux and Chris Hodgetts on row 2, Steve Cole and Martin Short on row 3.
Short the man to watch, his second race only in the championship. Andy Wallace also could go well here.
Red lights go green, we're on board with Chris Hodgetts. Marvellous noise from the Tuscans as they accelerate off down towards Redgate. It's Mark Hales in the red car in the lead. And look in the background, Martin Stewart hits Simon Wayne. Wayne goes off, thwack into the barrier. He spins, Martin Stewart spins as well. Look at it, number 40, he's still spinning. Round and round and round he goes. He's facing the wrong way. Drama right at the start. Wow.
Mick Schofield spins, Fabrizio Brogi thinks he's on a motorbike. He avoided him.
On board now with Martin Short, diving down to the old hairpin. It's Mark Hales in the lead, Kent is second, third is Chris Hodgetts, and fourth Ian Flux. And they're going through number 19, Chris Maris. He started 24th on the grid already. He's going exceptionally well. He was assaulted in qualifying by Mark Newman. The car was very badly damaged, and Maris is storming up through the field as Hodgetts looks on the inside of Kent and the door is closed.
Yes, Maris makes a habit of coming up from the back of the field, but look at this quartet up front. Hales really in charge at the moment, but not by much.
Colin Blair, number 5 is 5th, 6th is Martin Short, 7th there Andy Wallace, and Chris Maris 8th from 24th on the grid on lap 1. What a start! On board now with Martin Short, he's closing up onto the tail of Colin Blair as they come down into the braking area for the Essex. He's going through on the inside. Through up there into 5th place goes Martin Short, and also through goes Andy Wallace, but Blair is fighting back. He's on the outside of us, he's on the curb, he's on the grass, he loses 3 more places.
This is Chris Hodgetts, now relegated back to 3rd place and anxious, very anxious to prove himself here at Donington, his home circuit. Hales still leading, however. Right behind him, Kent.
John Kent braking very, very late indeed as they go into Goddard's now, coming up to complete lap 1. It's Hales in the lead, John Kent in 2nd place, this man, Chris Hodgetts, is 3rd, and Ian Flux holding a watching brief in 4th place. Martin Short 5th, and Chris Maris is now 6th. The drive gets ever better from the Cheshire driver, but it's the bearded journalist Mark Hales in the lead, under a great deal of pressure now from John Kent in 2nd place.
That was a beautiful manoeuvre there, but it came to nothing because Flux has got alongside, trying to keep the door shut. Hodgetts nearly threw it all away.
Diving down through the trainer curves, looking back from John Kent's car, the man who comes from Preston. He runs a rest home. Nothing could be more different, possibly, from thundering round in a Tuscan. Out of the old hairpin now. Hales just up ahead. Hodgetts there in 3rd place, trying to pull away now from Ian Flux as we go on board with Martin Short, who's on the curb and on the grass. You don't want to lose a Tuscan, especially at the old hairpin. Maris goes through. He's now 5th.
Short keeps his foot in. The accident at the start. A touch between Gretton and Stewart. Stewart then goes across the track and takes out Simon Wayne. A huge impact there. As Stewart spins to a halt.
Everybody else manages to avoid him, and Martin Stewart able to rejoin as we go back on board with John Kent diving down to the Melbourne hairpin. He's in the lead. Mark Hales slips back into 2nd place. So John Kent, the Preston driver, is in the lead, although Mark Hales is now right alongside him as they come up towards Goddard's, and Mark Hales knows he's back through. Kent has the inside line. Can he dive through back into the lead? Yes, he can. What a tremendous lead battle this is. John Kent leads Mark Hales.
Yes, Hales made a slight mistake there and gave away the lead of the race, but I can't believe he's going to be satisfied with being 2nd for long. Here's a man who wants to win desperately. Look at the battle behind.
Ian Flux on the outside. Chris Hodgetts, though, managing to close that door as they come through Redgate. But Ian Flux wide in, tight up, looking for a way up alongside. Martin Short diving up on the inside of Ron Gretton. He's lost it. Short spins.
Yes, a little bit of inexperience there as to just how hard he could brake as he came into the very tight curve there, and it didn't work out for him.
Chris Hodgetts falling away from the top 2 now as he tries to make sure that Ian Flux stays behind him. Hodgetts 3rd, Flux 4th, and Mark Hales has dropped back ever so slightly from John Kent. Maybe Hales is giving his tyres and brakes a bit of a breather from all this action.
On the way up towards Coppice, he falls back a little bit. Foreshortening there by the camera. He's still pretty close. This is Coppice. Just about a couple of cars length or so between them. Still closing out onto the straight.
On now to the fastest part of Donington, and Martin Short's going off again. Look, he's locked up. The car swaps ends. He just about gathered it all up, facing roughly in the right direction.
All he wants now is a gear. He's got one.
It all went horribly quiet for Martin Short for a moment when he's able to rejoin. As now Mark Hales has a look on the inside of John Kent coming down to the hairpin. They're side by side. Hales in the red car on the inside. He uses the curb. He runs wide, but he's in the lead. John Kent drifts out wide at the Melbourne hairpin, forced to do so by Hales, and now Hodgetts comes up alongside him. Mark Hales leads, John Kent second, Hodgetts third and Flux fourth, and now Flux challenges for third on the outside. They have all closed up again. What a race!
A thrilling contest between this quartet of drivers and cars, so evenly matched as they dash down now towards Redgate Corner. Lining himself up, Hodgetts looks for the inside. Watch Fluxy behind, he'll try and take the wide line. He does. Sacrificing a little bit of speed to try and come through on the inside there. Hodgetts actually got away with it. We look back. This is John Kent. He's holding on now to second place, don't forget. Here's Hodgetts under pressure, and here's the leader, Hales.
Coming into the old hairpin, Mark Hales in the lead. It looks as though he's timed this to perfection. He's in the lead, he's pulling away. Look, look, flames! Hales' car's blown up. There's oil all over the road. Ian Flux goes off there. Kent slows. Hodgetts goes through to the lead, and Mark Hales cannons off into the barrier. Ian Flux spinning in avoidance. Well, what a turn-up. A new race leader is Chris Hodgetts. John Kent is second, and something has blown in Mark Hales' engine. He goes off the circuit at high speed indeed into the tyre wall, and the race has all changed at Donington.
That was a massive blow-up. Engine absolutely ruined, and a huge fire, a flash of flame, and it's all over. It's an oil fire, and off he goes at a tremendous speed. A very lucky man.
That grass being wet and slippy offers Mark Hales no chance at all to slow the car down, so Hodgetts now leads John Kent, and this man, Colin Blower, is up to third. He's some way back, and John Kent at the hairpin for the final time. He's going for the lead. They're side by side and they touch. John Kent gets sideways there, and that means now that Chris Hodgetts is going to win the final round of the TVR Tuscan Challenge of 1994 here at Donington. He comes up to Goddard's. The race will go to Hodgetts. The championship, though, already in favour of Mark Hales, but what a race, Neville.
Yes, a very, very great race indeed. The end of the TVR Championship for 94, but some of the best racing we've seen this year.
Chris Hodgetts, the race winner. John Kent comes home in second place ahead of Colin Blower in third. Andy Wallace takes fourth ahead of Nick Cresswell, having his best result ever, fifth. And Ian Flux, with fastest lap, takes sixth.
I wouldn't like Mark Hales' bill, but he's won the championship, so that'll help a bit. On the other hand, Tom Wheatcroft will have him planting grass seed from now till Christmas.
Congratulations, great way to finish the series.
Yes, a most enjoyable race, obviously very exciting for the spectators, at least I hope it was. Really sitting there because I knew that there was going to be, should we say, a little bit of grief between the two cars that were in front, and I'd obviously got Fluxy on the chuff as well, so that was good. It was a superb race. A couple of places that I intended to overtake the two cars in front, which was McLean's really, which I was considerably quicker there. But as things panned out, I didn't have to, and it was great. Fabulous race, yeah.
All right, congratulations and enjoy your champagne, Chris.
Thank you very much. Thanks.
So, Chris Hodgetts, the last interview of this series. I hope you've enjoyed the Best of British Motorsport. We think it has been. So from all the production team, the commentators and myself, goodbye and drive safely.